you to figure out how to get you.
Hi.
Hi, I don't have a picture.
Oh, I'm listed as Janice Chernikoff. That's my partner, and she let me use her computer instead of my old phone.
Okay, so I can see Deborah and Amy Whiteberger, and I can see Angie. And that's all. Hi, Angie. I don't have my camera on. I'll see if I can turn it on. I don't know what I'm doing. So I just lost everybody. There's everybody. But I can't see you. I don't have anything in the middle of my iPad.
Janice is saying, might there be 2 screens of people now for you? So you're just getting some?
There you are. I just had to hit switch to active speaker. Now I see you.
Okay.
Hi, Jane.
Hi. Oh, this is really fun.
There's Elizabeth.
Oh, Hiram's here too.
This is
Hiram. Okay.
Thank you.
Shows, but I don't have my camera on. I don't know what's wrong with my camera. So you guys don't see me, right?
Right, just your name.
Hi, Debbie.
So what I'm gonna do, Angie, is I'm gonna mute everybody so that when the active speaker comes on, it's not like switching back and forth with someone who's coughing or what have you. And I'd like to introduce Jayne and get it started. So most of you know who Jayne is. She's the current Poet Laureate of Berks County. She is the author of My First Real Tree, the book of poems from Foothills Publishing. Her poems have appeared in several literary journals and anthologies, including Blue Line, Cider Press Review, and Alligator Juniper. And we all know the pleasure as her title poem, I Am Becoming the Woman I've Wanted. And finding her here has been widely distributed as a poster, translated into Mandarin and Russian, and was commissioned as a choral work by Anna Chrysis, Women's Chorus. Her poem, Ode to Hip Hop, recently became a national finalist for Stephen Coet Poetry Prize, and she received her Master's of Fine Arts in Creative Writing and Poetry from San Diego State University, and taught college-level creative writing and composition full-time until retiring from Penn State Berks in 2018. And I'm gonna unmute Jayne and let her do her thing. Let me get there. We go.
I appreciate it. All right, I want to start and take just a minute to send some love out to Maria McDonald and her family, sorry. And most of you local people know Maria. She was the 5th Poet Laureate of Berks County. And she just lost her oldest son yesterday. A surprise, just catastrophic medical thing that happened very quickly. So those of you that know her, keep her in your hearts. And she's somebody I've learned a tremendous amount of how to live wholeheartedly and full of love. And so I wanted to start with Maria's words. This is a poem that's up online, and it's called You Were a Poem. She starts with a quote from Adrienne Rich, who said, I dreamed you were a poem. I say, a poem I wanted to show someone. You Were a Poem by Maria McDonald. Lines of curved verses lost when I rise, a whispered reading to a room of empty chairs, the narrative slipping into silver slices, orange tongues, music of blue wind, deep ether breaths before dawn, bring me to the last green glass smell of your chest, until the gentle fall into cotton fields where I catch fading stars dropped in quartz beads from your lips, slowly enough for me to string this poem. So Love to Maria. And I don't know how to transition from that, so I just will. But this is a newer poem, Penn Street Poetica, and it is just published in the online anthology Penn Street, and that's P-E-N. All of you Pennsylvanians know we have Penn's Woods and everything is Penn, but this is P-E-N Street, City of Poems for Reading, Pennsylvania. And Anthony Orozco developed and curated this, and it's 50 poets and about 75 to 100 poems about Reading, Pennsylvania. One of the best things about being poet laureate is it's gotten me to get out and engage more with the community and learn more about the community. And there's so much happening in Reading. So this is my celebration of all the things I've seen in the last year. And it starts with a quote from a souvenir booklet from 1895. And this is on The River Speaks, the big sculpture by the bridge, for those of you locals. I didn't realize there was text down at the bottom, and there's a whole bunch of quotes and different things about Reading. So I have to go take a field trip and see it. But this souvenir booklet advertises Reading as all enclosed within the gentle curving of the river as it flows. So pretty nice. All right, Penn Street Poetica. Where the avenue becomes a street, the river speaks, if not in circles, in swerves and curves, music and dance, circles of words. When you cross the bridge, first glance might seem like too many dollar stores, not enough bucks. But up the stairs and down the streets, Reading is poetry struck. High school poets sit on the steps of the Citadel, look out over row homes and row themselves home. Who am I? Who could I be? The poems they write make up their maps. By the library steps, fairy tales unfold, today's grim stories retold. Stolen children hastened away, here, avenged and returned in a glorious dance. Upstairs at Barrio Alegria, popcorn and poems are popping like mad, fingers snapping, deft rhymes clacking, words slapping up laughter, shared tears, and joy. In the big windowed room at the Goggle Works, local bards aim their lenses on the unremarked. They magnify miracles and open the mic. Alone on stage, the flame-haired dancer moves to words and the silence between. Her body contracts. She raises one arm in a gentle curve, all enclosed, like the river's bend where the city flows. Excuse me. All right. And this is the poem. This is the poem that became a national finalist for the Steve Cowett Poetry Prize. Steve was a teacher in San Diego, probably one of the last living beat poets that, you know, just kind of schlepping around town in his suspenders and his old jeans and his curly hair, and just a lovely, lovely man. And this is a poem that was inspired by my students, and I especially dedicate it to Simone Corbin and Missy and Xavier, who were a couple of my student editors. But Simone started it by saying, we need to have a spoken word night. And I thought, well, oh, I need to bring something then if I'm your faculty advisor. So here's my contribution, my ode to hip hop for my students. Simone, we've talked about appropriating cultures, and I don't want to come off like some chalky colored vulture, but if I want to walk the teacher talk, I need to make me do the same thing I put my students through. step outside my comfort zone, do something more than phone it home with a few prepackaged metaphors and a slant-rhymed couplet just to wrap it up like some cutlets in white paper. So if I'm a taker more from Lin-Manuel Miranda than 50 Cent or Tupac or whoever is the new act, here's my 2-cent attempt to reenact the impact hip-hop's had on me. How to understand that an English teacher over 65, ex-suburban housewife, new life, still white Berks County transplant finds she's energized by a current that's run rampant over fossilized old art forms, instigating new norms and a new Zoom with new room to reform even classrooms. In English 50, Intro to the Craft, teaching rhyme used to be the worst time. Try to tell teenagers back in the day that bother rhymes with rather, that any of it matters, using stanzas from old masters, my heroes though they be. Hopkins, Heaney, Eliot, that's TS folks, not Missy. They'd roll their eyes, get pissy when I tried to make them clap in time to find the heartbeat of pentameter. I was outside their parameters. My life had stood a loaded gun. I swear I had to take them back to Mother Goose and Dr. Seuss to find the last time any rhyme had made them laugh, feel pleasure, feel like words were treasure to be mined, or trains to pull them deeper and drop them off in neighborhoods way past what they thought they knew. Like there was anything new in poetry they'd find that's worth their time, worth keeping. So much for rhyme, they found it rancid. I thought everyone and everything was sleeping. Little did I know it was in transit. Well, now every first-year student with a headset and the mindset and an ear has the ability to lay down lines with a little versatility. They know that slant rhymes just fine, that pancake, manscape, and even Jayne, why can't you stand straight, could find a home in the same poem. They know how to speak their mind in time to a 4-beat line with a whole quadrillion syllables exploding in between. And even if it seems sometimes I've heard the song before, imitation is a compliment, a testament, better yet, a stop to hop the train that sends them down that high volt track, past the reruns and the claptrap, through the backtrack and the old crap to the real riff they can let rip. That's it. I love seeing your faces. All right. I have been exploring, I'm gonna say it out loud, I'm working on a second book. And one of the themes in there, thank you. Oh, I love seeing the hands. This is like, thank you. And so one of the themes that's a big one is, you know, over the course of 10 years or so, losing both my folks, and each of us has to do our own exploration. And if you're a poet, you have to find something to say about it. And I've been really interested in how that relationship continues on and continues defining who we are. At the same time, there's suddenly nothing to push against if you were pushing against. So these are some of those poems, and I'm also trying to find a way to bring a little levity to it, you know, not be dour. All right, so this is called Palinode to Weather Talk. A palinode is an ode to something that you used to hate or disagree with, but you've changed your mind. I found that in the Dictionary of Forms and thought it was very cool. And I used to hate that we'd talk about the weather, you know, kind of blasé, blasé. So this is my palinode to weather talk for my father. You hold the cordless, circumnavigate the driveway, watering geraniums you don't recall you watered yesterday. That's what you call it, circumnavigate, a word you're pleased to put your mouth around. You're like our old cat who used to piss us off by sneaking up and drinking from our water cups. The one who, now she's dying, has a special glass we keep topped up. All your life, we finished sentences for you. We rushed you, a wife, 3 daughters, talking circles over you, and let the real talk stop when you walked in. Oh, hello there. Is it hot out? Did you take your insulin? Now that every sentence hides a dozen snares, each phrase a maze or thicket to get lost inside, we sit in silence, waiting as you fumble toward the end. Once I scorned our weather talk, thought of it like Naugahyde, Formica, fake, a sign of everything we'd circumnavigate to keep things safe. Now that past and future have abandoned you, and nouns, tell me morning fog and sun, as long as we have left. Let our little dialogues repeat themselves so faithfully, they wear a path for you to find your way along. A route as clear as the 2 black lines that mark your nighttime shuffling track from bedroom to the bathroom door and back. And then as a consequence, you always worry when your parents, whatever it is that your parents have succumbed to, it creates worry in us as well. So this is my poem, Losing It. You may recognize its riff off Elizabeth Bishop's one art, the art of losing isn't hard to master. So this is Losing It. Yesterday, I didn't recognize my purse. Last year, I didn't recognize my friend. To be fair, the purse was nondescript. The friend had makeup on, a dress, and contacts in. I'd never liked that purse. Plain black vinyl, cheap, it works. But I had always liked my friend. I know I'm not the first to fear the worst, to wait for senior moments that don't end, for lapses that extend to loss of words, abyss, or worse. My father didn't recognize his house. My mother learned to lie, to leave and come back in with a cheery, "Dear, I'm home," in hopes of jogging him. I hope that's not my portion of the family curse. I cannot change my chromosomal blend. But just in case, I'm learning to pretend. I've armed myself with fillers, what's his face and thingy to stick in. I've bought myself a memorable purse. I've been forgiven by my friend. There is no art to losing it, no thing to master to blend in if that disaster's destined to descend. Toward the end, my father only recognized his brothers, all long past. And if I'm headed toward the cliff edge of that curse, I hope I'll see my father's ghost toward the end. Meantime, I keep my address in my purse. And, oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Clem Jones. This is one I've had fun with, and it reveals a guilty pleasure I indulge in periodically, especially when Janice, I'm looking toward Janice in the hall, especially when Janice isn't around to go, why are you watching that? So this is called Medium. How I'll know it's really you. No words, just the medium's surprised eyes, so wide they almost eclipse her whistling lips, whistling an old show tune she doesn't know. Some enchanted evening when you come through, each note sliding into true like the bending weeping of a singing saw. Afterwards, she'll be shaken, taking time to gather her wits, licking her lips, scratching one long manicured and painted nail deep into the big bouffant. That's never happened before, she'll say, something like that, and show me her own sad, soundless, whistling attempts. The father figure who's passed, she'll say. I'll nod. He's quiet, she'll say, then laugh, the famous two-note giggle ending on a high note. Funny too. I was just about to say the mother figure's stepping forward. I know, he says. I thought I'd get a word in edgewise first. She says, you're stepping back now, and I'll know it's you because she'll say you hold one hand raised the way you always did, the fattest peanut in your fingertips, and blue jays hover up and land. This is called Her Left Eyebrow, part 2. Her left eyebrow. It raises, it cocks, it praises or mocks. I learned early to watch that eyebrow the way I learned to read the weather of a room. It might signal encouragement or warn me to back off. It told me whether she wanted Irish spaghetti or Spanish rice quickie for supper, whether she liked my new poem, whether to dress my little brother in the yellow onesies or the ones with blue giraffes. The eyebrow was the last of her to go. Eyes closed, mouth slack, she moved between labored breathing and finally drifting mostly on a morphine float. But when my sister asked, "Are you hearing all the nice things we're saying about you?" up went the eyebrow, pleased. When one of the men she fondly called the gay dads visited from church, she gave him smiles we hadn't roused for days. "What are we?" my brother asked. "Chopped liver?" Up it cocked, a well-timed laugh. It was how she answered yes to sips of apple juice, a sponge of water on her lips. When I tried to feed her rice pudding from a spoon and said, "My kids have told me I'm terrible at this," the eyebrow rose in arch agreement. Her eyes popped open for a moment once, and the eyebrow frowned and furrowed to find she wasn't done. "I have to get this over with, to make the movie stop," she said. When the eyebrow finally was still, it told me she was gone. Excuse me. The last one from this group is called Sweetheart. Sweetheart. It surprised me when I called you that. Sweetheart, not mom, not mommy. Sweetheart, you're doing so good. And you were, light years ahead of me, bent into your center, hunkered down like a woman in labor, deep in the thick, hard work to deliver yourself from your well-spent body. Daddy used to whistle that song, even sing it to you sometimes. "Let me call you sweetheart," on our long trips through the Southwest, Zion, Bryce, the Painted Desert, while we sat reading, rolling eyes in the back seat of the big finned Ford, the Plymouth Fury. And maybe he's waiting in the wings to croon his tune to you again. Long ago, not long ago, I told his ghost, "You can't have her yet." But you're not ours anymore. You're gone beyond, almost gone to the other shore. You woke up once and said you had to make the movie stop. Forget your troubles, come on, get happy, Judy Garland sang from the TV screen. I stood to turn the TV off, then realized you meant everything. We flickered there in black and white, waiting to be gone beyond. My brother whispered in your ear, "It's okay, Mom, you can let go." From your still body, your strong voice, "I'm not going anywhere." Oh, sweetheart, sweetheart, let me call you that. Thank you. So on a lighter note, that's my terrible transition. I would like to end with, oh, no, sorry, I have a couple from the book. On a lighter note, here we go. That's all I need to say. This is familiar to some of you. I just performed this at the Reading Theater Project's 5-Minute Fringe Festival. This is how I got my tomboy back at 66. My tomboy. At 66, got back my tomboy. At 10, I was not so much a daddy's girl as mom's boy. I was her sidekick, riding shotgun, shunning lipstick for a denim jacket and a ball cap, a yearly pixie cut and cutoff sticking down below school's mandatory skirt. At recess, I threw it in the dirt, went out for the long pass from Fred, the noon duty guard. In dodgeball, I was last one out. I learned to slide my body sideways like a snake, to let the ball pass, or to leap splits above a low throw. I was not queen for a day, but my own queen, prince of my life. In the bathroom mirror, I used my mother's Maybelline to brush a dashing mustache on. I didn't so much want to be a boy as strong, as something unforgettable. The first girl on the major leagues, or Peter Pan. I'd stand like Mary Martin in the full-length mirror, arms akimbo, fists on hips, belting out, "I won't grow up," or "I've got a crow." I would let the whole damn world know. I'd stare into those mirrors, dreaming all that I could be. Then, puberty. It got me lost, tossed off somewhere. I traded pixie cuts for long hair ironed into window curtains by my face, replaced the cutoff jeans with mini skirts, tight shirts, halter tops, and chokers I would macrame. I learned not to talk too much, not seem too smart, not be too much of a joker. 16 magazine said, ask him all about his folks, laugh at his jokes, ask about his hobbies or his classes. I learned to watch my mouth, my weight. I used the Maybelline to pile on my lashes. 50 years, it flashes past. A long collage that starts with dates and breakups, teasing, desperate to be pleasing, wanting just to pass. I won the prize. It didn't last. He liked to call me Dresden doll. Oh, I loved it then. But then, like porcelain, I cracked. I split. I'd cut my hair and grow it back, go back to school, drop out, go back. I kept digging back to find my feisty girl somewhere. I watched my daughter pack for 6th grade camp, a denim jacket and a baseball cap set sideways on her long blonde hair. Oh, if you ever dissed my kids, my grandson, up would rise my mama bear. I love Marilyn. But when I needed her for me, I couldn't find her anywhere. I thought I'd lost my tomboy, gone for good. But finally, I got her back. One day in Tai Chi class on a split screen monitor. The teacher in New York, the faculty at Berks following along. I looked up midstream and caught a glance, saw not my awesome push hands waving through the clouds, not my balance or my flow, not my crane spreads wings, just my belly and a big fat ass. I stopped. I felt my face go hot. And then I thought, well, fuck that. I'm a grandma now. If not now, then when? When will I be balanced in my own right, not what I look like? So now, the pixie cut in gray, except it's gotten really long, but the pixie cut in gray, the baseball cap are back. I'm kicking butt in Tai Chi class, on the yoga mat, and at the pickleball court. I tell that nice girl self to take a back seat and let the heat fly. They say there's no sorry in pickleball or life, no time to be shy. I stand right up at the kitchen line. I can take the heat and not be fanned back. I'm learning how to whack back into the foot, into the body. Better get back. I play like a real girl and I can talk smack. Look out, I got my tomboy back. Thanks. Thank you. That's my new anthem. Thank you. And I want to finish with two different ones from, shameless promotion, but most of you know it. My book, My First Real Tree, which is from Foothills, as Angie said, and it's also, if you live near Kutztown, at Firefly. And we love Firefly Bookstore, who is keeping me in books over this long quarantine and sending books to people in the area for free. So this is because of the full moon that we just had that's kind of still there, the big strawberry moon, moon swimming. When I lived in San Diego, we rented one house that had a swimming pool in the backyard. So for a year or so, we had a swimming pool in the backyard, and it was pretty cool. So moon swimming. Wait by the pool for a strawberry moon and catch the change. Pale blues that deepen to an indigo. How Venus flickers first. Then the dipper's ladle in the west, as though it spills the day's last light. You've thought of night as if the planetarium dropped in a different slide. But tonight, you know these stars burn constant in your sky. Turn east to watch the gathered glow, to guess the place the moon will lift. A thin girl in an upstairs window looks beyond you for the planet star. Her lank hair, an auburn curtain by her face. Mirror to the limp lace she's pushed aside to catch tonight's first glance and make her wish. Inside the house, your lover lights a lamp, lies down to read. She'll later move to make a place for you within that circle's warmth. But now the coalescence has begun. Mockingbirds and crickets hush. Moon's rising. No, your world spun to bring you to its view. Full-bellied orange at Foothills line before its paler faces, butter, pearl, beam, and blue, moment before its paler faces beam and blue light spills its satin sheen across your feet. To make it rise on you again, duck down below the notched horizon of the redwood fence, sit at the water's lip, tuck moon-kissed legs into the night black pool, slide off your dress, and slip into the cool black basin's drift. Float there, your arms and legs outstretched, a star yourself, a constellation, globes of milky breasts, of belly, knees, weight, water lapped to echo back reflected light. And I'll end with this little short one. Oh, thank you. I'll end with this little short one, which I think / hope is perfect for this time when we're waiting, and quarantining and hoping. It was written for a very different purpose originally, but I think it fits. It was actually first for a one-act play that 3 of us wrote about our first kiss. So it's called Cusp. And it comes from some word nerd research of all the different meanings of what a cusp is. And there's a ton of them. I didn't know all of them. So here's most of them. But I hope, you know, like all those diagrams, we're ready to go to the better side of the bell curve very soon. That's my wish for all of us. And now I'm feeling that travel urge again. I want to come see. Yes, I'm looking at you, Robin. I want to come to Massachusetts. I want to go back to San Diego. I want to see everyone and just see my buddies all around Reading. All right, cusp. It's the edge of a tooth or a crucial place where a curving journey meets itself. The moment of movement out of a house, a fold or flap in the valve of the heart. It's the tip of the moon. It's the point in a turn where a skater shifts on the edge of her blade. Let us ride out that turn, savor the tooth, open the chamber, and not be afraid. Thank you guys so much. That's for you. Thank you. Yay. All right, unmute. Thank you, everybody.
Oh, Jayne, thank you. Thank you.
That was what I was missing, was the sound bath.
Very nice.
Thanks.
Very nice.
Thank you, Jayne. That was beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much, Jayne. Really.
Thanks, Jayne. That was great.
Yeah.
I really loved the last poem.
Oh, thank you.
I could also see the actor in you.
The singer.
So true.
My husband was listening in the living room and he really enjoyed you as well, Jayne.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate
He's
that.
saying things like, she's really good. I like her.
Oh, I like that. Nice.
Me too. I was saying the same thing in the background.
Oh,
Hi.
see you. Oh my gosh, wow.
That's great. I really, really loved the poem that you finished with. That really resonated with me. That's a real beauty. Good.
I'm glad it felt right.
Yeah.
I hadn't read that one.
And it's so inspirational as well. It's a really inspiring note to leave us on.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, do it.
Jayne, could you tell us one more time where to get your books? I loved the poem about the musical, the one that incorporated all the songs from the musicals.
Those are yet to be published.
Oh, okay.
So we'll see, but I'm gonna note who's here and connect up with you, and certainly through Berks Bards. So I hope within a year. How's that?
But where are your previous books available? I didn't catch it. It went so fast.
Yes.
Firefly?
The first book is Foothills Press, Foothills Publishing, which is up in New York, and they have a website. So it's capital F for foot and capital H for hills, but all one. And you can go alphabetically through through their writers. Also, if you're near Kutztown, if you're in Reading,
I'm in Berks County.
Okay, Berks County. Firefly Bookstore in Kutztown carries lots of local poets and area poets, and so they have copies of it there.
Okay, great.
And right now they're all online, but
Right, sure.
yeah, you can contact them and they'll put it in the mail to you for free shipping.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Oh, thank you for asking.
Jayne,
Yes.
Jayne, it would be lovely if maybe you would post that last poem. Maybe,
I will.
why don't you put it on the Bards website or that Facebook where they're putting up poems? Because I would love to read that again more closely. And
Oh, well, thank you.
as I said, you know, it being so perfect for the moment. I also really, I'm sorry I came in late. I actually was out on some family errands, and it just was late, you know.
I'm glad you're here, though. It's great to see you.
Yes, I'm so glad I heard the last few poems, and I really loved the imagery in moon swimming. It was just,
thank you.
it was just so lush and evocative and magical, really magical and beautiful.
Yay, good.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Heather.
Okay, all the best.
Thank
Take care.
I added the link to Firefly Bookstore into the chat if everybody could see that. And you can go on there to find Jayne's book.
Great, great. Oh, and let me put a little plug in. I'm going to do another online thing for those of you. Well, I guess you don't even really have to be local, but for Berks Bards, I'm going to do a writing workshop on putting more power in your poems. And it'll be Monday. It's online like everything else now. So it's through Spring Township Library and Berks Bards. One thing Berks Bards is working on, I think this is fair to say, is trying to get more people in Berks County to apply for the Poet Laureate, which is every 2 years, and it's a manuscript of 5 poems, and you know, working on having a really strong manuscript. Those would be due January, Marilyn?
That's when they make their choice.
Oh, okay.
So
okay, so there will go. I'm sorry.
I forget the dates, but I know it's going to be in the fall, leading
Okay.
up to, and then January would be the selection.
Okay.
At
So
the end of it.
Yeah, so working on some revision techniques. We'll create 1 or 2 new pieces, but so that everybody has something to work with in that workshop. But then I'm inviting people to bring a poem in progress that you're not completely satisfied with. And then I've got a whole raft of techniques I've pulled together from, you know, they're all, you know, 90% of them are stolen, but they're all good techniques that have worked from people, you know, so we'll work on some things that kind of help you approach a poem in a new way and maybe find a way over whatever it is that stopped it from being everything it could be. And
when is that, Jayne?
That's Monday, the 20th of April. So this is for Berks Bards, more of the online Bard Fest. And it's Spring Township Library and Berks Bards. Berks Bards is bringing it to the library. So
I think that's at 6 p.m., isn't it?
Correct. Thank you. That's the other critic. So 6 to 8 p.m. And we'll meet online, and yeah, so if you're in the area, I hope you could come.
Yes.
Jayne, I just wanted to say that this was really enjoyable, especially in this time of, social isolation.
Yes.
And I'm glad to hear that you're doing a workshop, because for the last 21 years, I've at least gotten to one event for Berks Bards, and I was really glad you could continue that. Is there a list of, other than Jayne's workshop, are there other events that are scheduled online?
I'm going to turn that one over to Angie or Marilyn.
Yeah, I figured one of them would know.
We're working on it, is the short answer. As soon as I or we know, we're going to be sending out emails and Facebook and our blog. So everywhere where Berks Bards is mentioned, we'll put it out there.
Good enough.
Our biggest problem was that just as we had everything in place, the coronavirus hit and everything had to disappear. So.
Oh, no. Yeah, I'm glad how you adapted to that. This is more people I've seen.
It's
I
nice.
A couple of weeks.
The vines are growing. It's beautiful.
It's wonderful.
Maybe we could extend it to May.
Oh, and that's not a bad idea either.
And I think that's probably a really good idea. It's probably going to happen. Yeah.
Behind the scenes, we have been discussing the poet that's going to be featured in May, Brandon Craig. We've been trying to get him to confirm doing his reading virtually as well, and et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
Okay.
So Berks Bards blog spot.
Yes.
And the info.
Okay.
Yes.
Angie?
I wanted to again thank Jayne. Thank you all for coming. This was great. I put Jayne's link to her book from Firefly in the chat feature. If you guys can see the chat feature. And like I said, once we have confirmed dates, times, events for more Berks Bards happening, I put it where all of our information goes, our blog, our email lists, our Facebook, etc.
Great. And if you popped up and surprised me today, let's talk to each other sometime soon. And James, I just see you, James Stout. Nice to see you tonight too. Lots of people. This is great. Well, thank you all, and keep writing poems. And I hope I'll see some of you.
Thank you.
When I travel again, or that I'll see some of you local people online for the writing workshop. That would be awesome.
Great.
All right.
That'd be great.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Angie.
Thank you.